To work at close to 8:30, so if folks can take a seat, we're going to get started in a minute. Good morning, everyone. If you could please take a seat, we're going to get started. Please take a seat. We will end the chit-chatting and get started. Now, I'm not starting an official meeting this morning, but if any of you were watching on Monday night, you know I run a pretty tight ship, so please get seated. Thank you, thank you. We're going to get things started with our city's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director, Chow Mortella, who will read a land acknowledgement.
Good morning. Good morning again. As we gather today to reflect on the state of the city, it is really important to acknowledge this land, now known as Rochester, Minnesota, and it rests on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Dakota people. This region has been home to indigenous people for thousands of years, including the Dakota Sioux, the Ojibwe people, and the Ho-Chunk people. The city of Rochester recognizes the historic, cultural, and contemporary contributions and significance of Indigenous people, Native Americans, and First Nations. We acknowledge that Indigenous people experience displacement and recognize the painful history of colonization, forced removal, broken treaties, enslavement, family separation, and great loss of life at the hands of governing bodies. This acknowledgement is not an end, but a beginning for us all, a call to action for us to build relationships of respect, reciprocity, and partnership with Indigenous communities. The City of Rochester commits to continuous learning, repairing harm, and honoring the land of the people who cared for and continue to care for the land that we reside in. We stand committed to fostering a future grounded in equity, justice, and understanding.
Thank you, Chow. Good morning, everybody. I am Randy Schubring, the all of 4 days Rochester City Council President, and thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm going to let you in on a little behind the curtain. So I was a little bit anxious about our first meeting on Monday, and talked to both of my two previous predecessors, Council President Randy Staver and Brooke Carlson, on kind of advice. And one piece of advice that Brooke gave me was, she said, do not plan any meetings for the Tuesday after a Monday evening city council meeting. So we have our city council meeting on Monday, and I think it took us maybe 2.5 hours, and we were out of there. And so Tuesday, have no meetings in the morning, slept in a little bit, but I was a little anxious by 11 o'clock, so I thought, I'm going to go downtown and maybe, find somebody to talk to, and stopped at Creasel's shop. It was closed, of course, and across the street went to visit John Wade from Ready, and of course he was in a meeting planning the future of all of us, so he'll let us know about that. Found myself in the subway at Hanny's and bought a brand new sports jacket and bow tie that I probably didn't need, but I think the moral of the story is that having a board city council president on a Tuesday is a boon for the local downtown Rochester economy. So the other moral is, if you see me wandering around on Tuesday, talk to me. I've got time. So, well, I hope you've all taken an opportunity to watch the video that was outside, or if you were at our city council meeting on Monday or watched the council meeting, amazing video that really highlights all the great work that happened in 2024. And our city staff does an amazing job of offering services and piloting innovative ways to make our city work better. And as I said at the council meeting on Monday, and speaking for myself and for my 3 other new colleagues on the council, I am just so impressed by our city staff. I don't know if City Administrator Zelms is here. I see Cindy, but just the work that her team does, and the just professional,ism and the expertise that they offer us to implement what we as council members want to pursue as policies. And we need to say that 90% of the work that happens here in Rochester is amazing. Our parks, our libraries, our water reclamation plant, RPU, I could police, fire, I could go on and on. But our job is, as policymakers, is to find, how can we do it better? How can we do it safer? How can we do it more efficiently and more sustainability? So I want to say to those of you who work for the city, or if you're public employees in the school district or the county, that we appreciate all the work you do, and when you hear us pushing it a little bit, that's our jobs. So I want you all to know that. I do want to recognize some of our leaders here today, and we have, I know that the state legislature is starting next week, and we have our Dean of the Rochester Legislative Delegation, Representative Tina Liebling here, and stand up. And when I call your name, stand up, because this is probably the only time this year you're going to get this. So sitting next to her is our great, my state legislator, Kim Hicks. And then at the end of the table there is Representative Andy Smith. And is Representative Quam here? Okay. And then I do want to recognize my colleagues who are here, and we have Councilmember Norman Wall over here from the 3rd Ward, and Councilmember Patrick Keene from the 1st Ward here, and then my 2 new colleagues here today, Councilmember Nick Miller from Ward 2. And Councilmember Dan Doring from Ward 6. So, and then we have our county representatives here. We have Laurel Podolsky Smith and Brian Mueller and Michelle Rossman. Is she here? Michelle, and then we have Dave Senjum, who We'll be hearing a little bit from Dave later this morning. And then from our school district, we have Kathy Nathan. Kathy, I think I saw here. Karen McLaughlin, school board member Karen McLaughlin over here. And Justin Cook. Is Justin here this morning? And Julie Workman. And then our newest school board member, Stephanie Whitehorn. Stephanie, let's give her a round of applause since she's our new. So thank you all for helping us here at the city start the new year. We're also going to be hearing from our partners from the county and the school district as well. So we'll start with the county, school district, and then Mayor, am I? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, absolutely. We have Jean Poppy from Senator Smith's office. Jean. And of course, my old friend, Chuck Ackman from Senator Klobuchar's office. Thank you. So we're going to start things off, and I said to both the mayor and Commissioner Senjum before we got started, I said, the two of you actually could run this whole thing together because, you've been on the city council, on the school board, a state senator, a state representative, and county commissioner. So with that, I am going to introduce our former city council member, former senator, and current county commissioner, Dave Senjum.
Thank you, Randy, and it's good to be here on behalf of the county. This is going to be like a 5-minute dash, so forgive me with respect to moving fast through what I'm going to talk about this morning. But again, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks on behalf of Mark Tyne, who's somewhere in the sun. We don't know, but he will come back. And we've got Laurel Podolsky Smith here and Brian, also certainly Greg Wright and Bob Hopkins, who's our new member on the on the county commissioners. And who have I forgotten? Michelle Rossman as well. I think that's it. But we're honored to be here and certainly accept the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the county and appreciate that opportunity. I would suggest, and this is being a little bold, the state of the county is outstanding, and it's not because of anything that I have done. We inherited that. We have an outstanding county. We've got a county that has, I believe, a strong board. We certainly are with respect to our staff, dedicated and committed. We're innovative in every respect, and I think we've moved this county forward. Certainly, we and the predecessors have done this pretty well. As we look at the county in terms of overall functions, I think you probably know them, but when I became on the county board, I understood, maybe I didn't understand, the length and breadth of the county board responsibilities and the county's responsibilities, but certainly public health, social services, housing, public safety, prosecuting and probations, roads and bridges, parks, land use planning, elections, solid waste management, property records, and assessment. That's a pretty long list with respect to county responsibilities, and again, we do them, and we do them very, very well. A little bit about the initiatives in 2024, and I'm just going to start by noting, and I'm not sure if he's here or not, Travis Granzi is our new county administrator, and it's a delight to have Travis working with us. It's also, frankly, a delight to be able to hire from within. And you know what you have, and you are confident in this case, Travis's expertise and commitment to the county and so on and so forth. But beyond that, then, with Travis's move, we have Amy Rottwater moving up into Travis's spot with respect to Deputy Commissioner of Health, Housing, and Human Services. And then Tony Hill has moved up to take the division head for physical development. And there'll be more of this movement as occurs as these chairs start to rotate a little bit even more. Some of the notable things with respect to housing, and these are things you probably read about in the paper, the Roth residential facility here on Center Street. The county has bought that and will operate that in the area of affordable housing. We're working on a trail side development south of Apache Mall, and that's going to be a large facility, again, dedicated to affordable housing. We've done a lot of this, and of course we have the 10 homes out in southeast Rochester. We call them the Red Hawk Project, 10 affordable housing homes that are already being sold and will be continued to market into next year. An exciting, I think, adventure with respect to trying to provide low-cost housing to individuals within our community. In the area of parks, we've got a lot of things going. We spent a lot of time on Graham Park. They're going to be in Graham Park, an 80,000 square foot facility, a new expedition center. You can't realize until you see an 80,000 square foot facility how large that is. It's going to be monumental. Besides that, all the things that go into recreating Graham Park is something that we've been involved with and continue to be. We're working on certainly the Sandy Point Park and renovating that and making that the kind of facility that people are going to use. That lake's already heavily used, on and on. Of course, we've done a lot of work at Oxbow and Chester Woods, a new amphitheater out there. These are just kind of lists of things which kind of go down through the menu. With respect to solid waste, a lot of things happening out there with respect to materials recovery and recycling and all of that, including a bonding proposal this year that will go on even a little bit further in terms of self-haul and all of those things that go into this web, if you will, of how do we handle our waste well. So we're continuing to work on that. We've got an energy park initiative going on, and that's 70 acres just to the east of the solid waste facility out there. How do we take the heat off the incinerator and use it productively for a new development within that 70 acres? That's an initiative they're certainly working on. In the area of sustainability, we've done a lot. I think this last year we put in 4 new solar systems and 2 geothermal systems. So we continue to, again, work on the sustainability ethic. That's, I think, a good direction. We'll continue to do that. In the area of ordinances, cannabis is big. I won't go into it too deeply, but I think our county was probably first in the state with respect to the cannabis ordinance and getting that out and getting it on the street and being prepared for whatever happens at the state of Minnesota on this one. But we're prepared, and that's all in place. We ran a secure and a precise election, I will tell you, and these are easy to talk about, harder to do if you're in charge. And our election staff just did a wonderful job this last year. In the area of transportation, a lot of projects, but I think foremost amongst them, the Highway 14, 60th Avenue, County Road 44, as we kind of call it within the county sphere. That's on board and getting done, and so a good thing. You can kind of maybe, and it's not to laugh about, but of all things the county gets stuck with, some property forfeitures. We've got 10 acres out in Haverhill Township that's got like, I don't know, 800,000 tires in it. So how do you clean up that? And thank you, state legislature, for helping us with $500,000 to that end. Another, I think, $300,000 on top of that for the county. But we'll reclaim that 10 acres and clean it up as, of course, we should. Public safety training facility out south of town near Fleet Farm is new and done and occupied. That's a good thing. Mental health, we spent a lot of initiatives in certainly that area, and very, very rightfully so. We've taken on now a new county mobile crisis center initiative, kind of bringing it home and controlling it ourselves, and that is good. So on and on, I could go on, but the list is long and my time is short. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and just share a little bit about what's going on in Olmsted County. Again, I will tell you we have an outstanding county. We've got an outstanding board that I'm privileged to be a part of, and I appreciate the opportunity this morning, Madam Mayor and Mr. City Council President.
Next on our list is the chair of the Rochester School District, and I do also want to acknowledge that school board member Jean Marvin is here. So if, please give her a round of applause. Next up is Kathy Nathan.
Thank you, Mayor Norton. for the invitation to share an update on our work at Rochester Public Schools. 2025 marks the third and final year of implementing our current strategic plan. To date, implementation has begun on every one of the 15 building blocks of the strategic plan. Together, these building blocks are a reflection of what our community told the district to focus on: to improve academic outcomes, build student and staff wellness, and give our students their best chance for success in learning and life. So for our younger learners, in 2025, we will add 5 additional pre-K classrooms after our renovation of the Pinewood building into an early learning center. We will be able to serve an additional 80 to 160 students, depending on whether they're full-day or half-day pre-K. We're also addressing the critical childcare needs of our families by adding 437 new school-age childcare, or SAC, spaces, which beats our goal of 350, and eliminating our waiting list from the spring-summer registration. Right now, only 11 students are on the SAC wait list. For our K-12 students, we will continue to implement a multi-tiered systems of supports, or MTSS, which uses data to identify each student's needs and skill gaps, and then target staff and instruction to deliver supports to meet those needs using software and curriculum tools. We will continue to transform our literacy curriculum and instruction so that we can meet our commitment to having every child reading at grade level. Students and families, guided by our school counselors, are using the Zello software to create a roadmap to post-secondary plans starting in elementary school. Students are developing a portfolio of interests and passions, identifying career paths that match, identifying high school courses to support those interests, and accessing resources on what colleges, trade or vocational training, military service, or employment that launch students on their chosen career path. In 2025, we are also reorganizing how we fund our schools, programs, and supports through the balanced budget model. The current highly centralized model for funding and staffing schools is not producing the student outcomes we want, especially when examining those outcomes by race and other student characteristics. So under the balanced budget model, 80% of a school's funding will still be allocated centrally to maintain class size targets, meet teaching load requirements, and provide essential services for students with disabilities and other special needs. But just over 20% of each school's budget on average will be flexible, available in the balanced budget model for each school's leadership to allocate for services and supports to meet the particular needs of their students and their school communities. Now, integral to those flexible allocation decisions is the evolution of our School Continuous Improvement Process, or SKIP 2.0. The SKIP 2.0 will be a collaborative process involving teams of educators and staff, ensuring that diverse perspectives guide school improvement goal setting and that the goals set drive the flexible funding decisions. So all of this strategic plan implementation, of course, is happening while our outstanding educators, staff, and administrators continue to work every day to inspire, challenge, and empower each one of our 17,323 students and engage with our parents and caregivers to help them best support their children in our schools. And we are grateful for the financial support that has been provided by Rochester's taxpayers and our community partners. The referendum, which was passed by a tremendous margin in November of 2024, prevented painful budget cuts, but more importantly, provides the financial stability for the RPS budget that allows us to continue the important work of the strategic plan. Now in 2025, we're going to be asking our stakeholders for something else, which is your voices and your feedback to help guide the future of the district. We'll be engaging the community in helping us define the RPS portrait of a graduate. We'll be rethinking our district mission, values, vision, and brand. And in the last half of 2025, we start this process all over again, undertaking an extensive process of data study and community engagement to develop our next 3-year strategic plan. We'll be reaching out in multiple ways and multiple places to capture feedback from the Rochester community regarding each of these items, and we encourage and welcome you all to participate. In all the work we do in 2025, we are committed to ensuring that every dollar entrusted to us is being used efficiently and effectively. We are committed to being transparent and sharing our plans, our progress, our resources, and our outcomes. We continue to be appreciative of the many people in this room who have partnered with us and supported the work to prepare all students for the bright future that can await each and every one of them. We hope you will stay informed and committed, and we thank you for your time today.
Okay, we are now going to move to the, before the mayor gives her State of the City address, we have a special treat. We have the city's poet laureate with us, Jean Procott, with us to share a special poem she's written for this occasion. Jean is a teacher at Century High School and has been Rochester's poet laureate for the past 2 years, recently winning a $50,000 fellowship grant from the Academy of American Poets. Jean, if you'd like to join us to read your poem.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jean Procott, and I am happy to report the state of poetry is excellent. As Randy said, I'm a teacher at Century, and this poem is about teaching and also being confused by it, because write what you know. It is called Something Likewise. First, we taste the sweet wood of alphabet blocks, then name their colors. Learn they won't reach the ceiling. Maybe we stacked askew. Maybe a side was chipped. We Godzilla the whole structure. Our teacher helps us count or clean them. 37 years later, out for an evening walk, past Hoover Elementary, those tiny chairs inside got me thinking of the mind-body problem, how I ever fit in some place so small where Mrs. Brooks cleaned kid slobber from ABCs. I called her mom once. The class laughed. She smiled. She was old and used to it. Today, I give my sophomores a spelling test, 100 points. Just kidding, not for points, just to see. Most of us never get definitely, the defiant mistake of an overconfident A. My students ask, Ms. Procott, will you write us a poem about potatoes for a potato party? I have never been asked a greater question. The season has finally changed to mashed. Word 2 is calendar. Don't we all struggle with that one? These days revolving. I might forget what year it is. Last week I went to write a lesson I'd already written months ago. The third word on the test is embarrass. 30 years ago, I lost the spelling bee with occasion. I still can't spell it. Just now, autocorrect flipped it like a digital clock, underlined my mistake to embarrass me. Look, Mrs. Brooks, when our students are out in this world, when the lessons cycle back, what will we want them to do for us? All I know is they need a space, warmth, a chair to grow into, a piece of candy, an ear, an opportunity. So how much time do I give? How much time do we get, they always ask. How much do you want, I say. They say extra. I say, when can you meet? Let me check my calendar. Look, Mrs. Brooks, I don't know what to give. So much of what I've said has been strained. Mrs. Brooks asks, what remains? That is what you defiantly gave. They will now give something likewise. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for that. What talent, not only from you, but also the talent that you're giving to your students there. So thank you for that. Now we're going to turn to the mayor, but I've got a little story before the mayor gets up here. You know, I mentioned, and I only have a week's worth of stories, so next year you're probably going to hear a lot more from me. But, you know, at our meeting on Monday, you know, I look over at the mayor and she smiled throughout the whole meeting. I was just like, oh, wow, okay, she's happy, she's happy. Well, this morning here at breakfast, she was telling us at the table that, you know, she's having some hearing loss that, and that she cannot hear low voices. She cannot hear male voices. So, well, we are an all-male city council, so she can't hear any of us. So we hope we can smile, but I hope she can maybe hear some of what we have to say. I am looking forward to an amazing partnership with the mayor as city council president. And with that, I'd like to welcome our mayor, Kim Norton, to give our 2025 State of the City address.
My hearing loss isn't that good. I heard you. And actually, what a joy. Thank you all for being here today, and really for being a part of our wonderful city. One of the things when I first won election, and I gave my acceptance speech or whatever we do, I talked about it's the people. It's the people in Rochester that make it special and make it great. And we do lots of development. We're going to continue to do lots of development, as you all know. But it really is the people that create the city. And so I'm going to be asking something of the people today. But first, I'm just going to say we have entered a new year. Hooray, it's time for a fresh start. This is the second half of the 2020s, the halfway point for DMC, and the halfway mark to 2050. This year marks the beginning of many exciting projects, including the 6th Street Bridge, bus rapid transit, of course, Mayo Clinic's Bold Forward Unbound project to transform healthcare, and it gave us a brand new city council. While it's always difficult to say goodbye to colleagues who have left the council, we are gifted every 2 years with a fresh start. Our 3 remaining incumbents have been joined by a majority of newly elected members who have already been busy learning about our city, getting to know our talented staff, and engaging with constituents. And very soon, we'll begin the work of refreshing our goals and our strategic plans, setting the course for a bright future for our city. The City Council brings a diversity of thought to the table, and it's my hope that we can align on broad goals of good government, preserving our city's rich history, supporting its transformation into an environmentally sustainable and vibrant city. We are also setting the stage to position Rochester as America's city for health, compassionate care, and innovation. We've already had that. We're just up in the ante here, and we're going to do even better. This work can't be done in a vacuum. It is vital that we ensure every person who lives here benefits from our successes. Elected officials are entrusted with setting direction for the city, but we need to keep the door open for broader community input as we serve. We'll be learning about ways to improve public discourse this year through democracy innovations. Several of us have been meeting with the National Civic League, and we look forward to exploring some promising ideas for better public meetings in the coming year. I want to take a moment to recognize and express my deepest gratitude to the employees of the city. Some of you are here today. Thank you for the tireless efforts. You can get it when I leave in the parking garage. I know there's still cars there. Sometimes it's because people are really working on the projects and working hard, and our staff are remarkable. When we switch on our light switch, we forget that when we switch that light switch or turn on our water, it's because RPU is doing its job. When you get up in the morning and get in your car and head out, and there's no snow on your street, And yeah, I know they can't get to every street at the same time, so be patient. It's because the staff in Public Works are doing their job, and they're doing it really well. So I want to thank all of our staff, and especially I want to thank our Rochester Police Department, Fire Department, and our first responders, because every day these brave men and women put their lives on the line to keep our community safe and really put tireless work into ensuring that our city remains a place where people can thrive without fear. From responding to emergencies, to supporting our community through outreach, which they do a lot of, and prevention programs, their commitment to the well-being of every resident is unwavering, whether it's keeping our streets safe, providing critical care, or helping during times of crisis. And when they show up at your home, it's usually at your worst moment. They're always there when we need them most. So on behalf of the entire city, thank you all to our employees for your service and your sacrifice and your dedication. They are making Rochester a safer, healthier place. So when I became mayor 6 years ago, one of my goals was to create a cosmopolitan canopy and create opportunities like that. Spaces where everyone feels welcome and where positive relationships can grow. This was a concept that I learned from Elijah Anderson, a Sterling professor of sociology and African American studies at Yale University. And no, I didn't go to Yale, but I did have the pleasure of meeting Professor Anderson on a panel at Augsburg College's Peace Prize Forum, and some of you probably have attended those over the years. They hold them regularly, and he was on a panel. His concepts speak to the importance of creating spaces like Peace Plaza, Discovery Walk, Soldiers Field, Silver Lake, and frankly, events like Thursdays Downtown, and our fabulous New Year's Eve event that was held in this building just a few weeks ago, where 6,000 people from this community came to have a family day. And it was a fabulous cosmopolitan canopy. And I felt pleased and proud, and I want to thank the folks at the Mayo Civic Center and the wonderful staff here who did a fabulous job keeping everybody happy and healthy. But this is something we've strived to do, and this is Elijah Anderson's book. It's called The Cosmopolitan Canopy, Race and Civility in Everyday Life, and it really is about how can we create those spaces, and it's not going to happen accidentally. It has to be purposeful, and we're really going to have to nurture this concept. As we work to create the city our residents want, it's critical that we listen to all voices, and that's why we've done things like co-design in the community of Rochester. And it's also why I launched the Rochester Vision 2050 initiative, which I announced a year ago today, right here in this room, to gather input from the broader community. I pulled together an absolutely fabulous group of Rochester residents to be on a steering committee to guide the process, help interpret the data, and a visioning committee who worked to get out into the community and get that information. And there's some of them here today. If you were on either the visioning or steering committee, would you stand, please? Come on, you're here. Aaron, Bannicky, you. There. Okay. Jim Miner, thank you. I really appreciate it. This group of people has done work and will continue to do a little more work. I hate to tell them that, but our consultant will be in town here on February 10th at a city council study session to really dig into the data that we got, because we had thousands of people responded and many of them had more than one idea. So we have lots of information that we go through, and many of the people that stood have been digging into that information for me. So we're going to put up one of the slides here. And this slide highlights the key area prioritized by our residents. And I want you to take a look at this. So we're not going to dig into the data here. We don't have enough time this morning. But housing and education were by far the top two issues that our community highlighted for us. And we could see it from the very beginning, and it stayed that way no matter what we did. Those were the top concerns, and then it drops down. And it's not that the other things aren't important. You can see that all of them got a lot of support. People care about this city and the high quality of life that we have, but education and housing clearly rose to the top. So I'm going to show an example of the next slide, which provides insights to the open-ended comments. And so we don't have it live here. We'll talk about it more on February 10th, but every comment that was made is in this document. Every comment. And so when this is live, you can click on all those and the comment pops out at you and you can read the statements in the words that the people wrote themselves, so you can get that information. And then it also breaks down into areas, so you can kind of see what was the area people commented about. And lastly, we have a slide that provides kind of, well, I want to say right away, those size of those bubbles don't mean anything. And I think we're used to slides where the size of the bubble matters. Size doesn't matter. This is just comments, right? And so, but these are the highlighted, the comments that were most common. And this, I think do we have workforce and economics in this particular slide? I can't see them from here. But every one of those areas has a bubble slide like this. It tells you what were the things that rose to the top. And our steering committee is going to talk about this a little bit more, and then the city council will talk about it. We hope to pull those things out to say these were the things in each area, and these are the priorities that our residents highlighted. And there's definitely some work. And I was just going to share that, and I won't embarrass the person and tell them because I've marked all over it. But each of the steering committee members has taken one of those areas that you saw and dug into it and really looked at it and has provided some written documentation. And I'll just give you an example on education. The most supported answers were that children and youth, youth and childcare was the #1 thing in that area of education and children. Community events, and you'll see that again and again in several different areas where people want more events in Rochester, followed by, of course, funding for education, which we got this year. But prioritizing early childhood needs, issues, and investments, increased early childhood investments and outcomes resonated throughout the entire document. And you'll hear in a few minutes a little bit more about that. So one of the key ways that we engage the community is through our boards and commissions, in addition to this type of work that we must do in order to keep the voices of people at the table. Over the last 30 days, the City Council reaffirmed the service of over 22 residents, the old council, I don't want to call them that, the past council, approved 22 residents who agreed to continue on the boards and commissions that have hundreds of people serving on them. And then we have just appointed, in the new council, approved another 15 new members this past Monday to serve in this role. I'm incredibly grateful to the folks in this community who step up to volunteer their time. These aren't paid roles, these are volunteers, but it's the community voice on issues that we care about in our community. And I would encourage more of you to get the word out and have people apply for boards and commissions. You can apply all year long through the city's website, and as openings occur, I do interviews and forward those names to our council. Council President Schubring and I are discussing ways to assure that the City Council and staff are aware of, value, and embrace the community input on these boards and commissions throughout the year. They put a lot of time and work in, and we're going to make sure that folks know that. And just one small example, not small, it took a long time, of how this community input works on boards and commissions was that there's been work on historic preservation, talk about it for a long time. This group of citizens pulled together with help from our staff, the designation of a historic district in Rochester, and the City Council approved that. It takes a lot of work on those committees, sometimes painful work, to get to a solution that the City Council can vote on. Another exciting initiative is the upcoming statue that's going to be put up in Central Park, hopefully before the end of this year, of Amelia Hatfield Witherstein, the first woman elected to any office in the city of Rochester, and the first woman to serve on a jury in Olmsted County in the early 1900s. It's been really fun working with a group of residents, digging through all the wonderful women, because this was kind of the focus of Statues for Equality. And this particular artist that stepped forward has done a lot of research and found that there are only 5% of the world's statues are of women. And we know women have contributed to the world in many ways over the years. So we are going to honor one. And for those of you, well, you'll learn more about her in the time ahead, but for some of you that don't know, the Witherstein family changed their name to Withers a number of years ago, and the family of Amelia Hatfield Witherstein still lives in our community and has been deeply involved over the years. So we're really excited to not only have found a wonderful the first elected woman, but also someone who still has family here. So that's pretty exciting. And we want to thank the community members for the donations that are helping make this a reality. I want to especially thank the Rotary Clubs of Rochester because they have donated funds for the base of the statue. The Park Board just approved this week, and they also are contributing to the base and design of the statue and the garden that will surround it. The goose, which is in the bottom corner, is kind of a bonus. And this will be placed in the garden adjacent to the statue, and it's going to honor our rich history, you know, of the large Canadian goose, love them and hate them, whatever, they're here. And also a nod to the artists. So Gilly and Mark are the artists who did this, and Gilly and Mark are artists out of Australia, and they specialize in animal art, and you can see it all across the world, So I thought it was nice to add that. I'd also like to thank Judy Hickey and the Greater Rochester Arts and Cultural Trust for their help in this, and the Rochester Area Foundation, who is supporting our work. So thank you to those organizations as well. And there are still opportunities to donate. So we have the casting and delivery need to be done. It's not inexpensive to get art from Australia. So we will be doing a fundraising campaign this next year to raise the second half of the funds that we need. So very excited. If all goes well, it'll be in Central Park by this time next year. We are committed to supporting local businesses, employees, and entrepreneurs through grants and initiatives like the Bloomberg Global Mayor's Challenge and multiple opportunities with the National League of Cities, including the Inclusive Entrepreneurship Program. These efforts, along with our partnerships with organizations like Collider and Ready, RDA, DMC, it goes on, help diversify our workforce and strengthen our business environment here in Rochester. Our long-standing financial support of these many groups, as well as the use of state and federal funding through our Community Development Department, are ways the city plays a role in supporting businesses, nonprofits, and individuals in this community. It's not our main job, but we are there and we support our community in ways we can. Destination Medical Center and our downtown business partnerships have sought to strengthen our business environment, which is ever-changing post-pandemic, and frankly, technology and AI are also impacting businesses, as well as our own purchasing patterns as individuals. So despite this new environment that our businesses face, Rochester showed remarkable nation-leading employment growth this past year. And if you weren't aware of that, we led the state and we were one of the top cities in the nation in business growth and employee growth. And that's something to be very proud of. And it's expected to continue. So I've asked Amanda Leitner with Collider to come up and just share a few thoughts about the work we've collaborated on through one of our National League of Cities grants. You want to come up and just give a few comments quickly?
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. As the mayor said, my name's Amanda Leitner, and I'm the executive director of Collider Foundation, which is a nonprofit here in Rochester that helps people take their business ideas and turn those into something real in the community. So at Collider, we really believe that small business drives communities forward. They add vibrancy, a sense of identity and purpose to places that we live in and that we call home. Small businesses are the ones that are most able to quickly adapt to and solve the needs that they see around them. So I'm very grateful to live in a community here where there are so many people from places all over the country, all over the world that want to share a piece of themselves, their skills, their passion, their culture, and their stories with everybody else. So these people are doing things like engineering machines to make injera because they can't find it here. They're helping parents communicate with their language-delayed children. They're building smart tech-enabled rooms for dementia patients. They're reducing medical waste and eye drop usages. They're curing cancer in dogs, educating and empowering women on their birth journeys, creating local mead, opening luxury barbershops, and doing whatever they can to leverage their skills and experiences to improve the lives of people around them. So at Collider, we believe in lifting up the talent housed within our community and allowing that talent to thrive. Innovation, entrepreneurship, and new ways of doing things are all around us and are showing up in really unexpected ways. So most people don't realize that the largest group of new entrepreneurs are between the ages of 55 and 64 years old. Also, businesses less than 1 year old create the most net new jobs in our country. So similar to national trends over the past 2 years at Collider, we're seeing a lot of people starting businesses based on skills they utilized in their careers in a variety of home-based consulting businesses, as well as personal services, tech businesses, and food endeavors. So when people come through our doors, yes, they're looking for help with business development. They're trying to figure out their business model, how they're going to make money, where the money to get started is going to come from. However, they also want to know about the ecosystem. They want to know what connected resources are available here to help them. As the mayor noted a few minutes ago with all the bubbles, obviously small business and support of that, support of diverse businesses is something very important here in the community. Entrepreneurs know that the ecosystem is important because they know that small business entrepreneurship doesn't exist in a bubble and that no one person, organization, or place has the solution resources alone to allow them to succeed. Instead, it takes each of us as individuals, as people, to play our role and determine how and if that ecosystem is going to be successful to allow innovation to thrive. So we all have a role to play wherever we are, whenever we leave this room today, to connect people from top to bottom, inside out. Take a few moments to listen and learn. Think about how our policies and procedures affect small businesses and consider the value we place on innovation and doing things differently than the way they've always been done. So at Collider, we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary as a nonprofit this October. In 2024, our small team of 4 served over 250 local entrepreneurs through our free or low-cost services. We work to give everyone the same chance to make their business dream something real and to share the true stories of entrepreneurship that are occurring within our community. So we're a data-driven team that sets goals with intention based on community need. So in 2025, our goals are to continue to identify and solve gaps in the ecosystem through community-driven insights, to continue to shed light on unrecognized business owners through our storytelling work, to refine our message to reach more people in the community that we can serve, and to build more meaningful connections with mission-aligned partners here in the ecosystem. So I wanted to end by, again, thanking Mayor Norton for inviting me here today, and to thank you all for the role that you play in this connected ecosystem. So I'd like to encourage you all to think about just one thing when you leave the room today that you can do to support small business in your role and to put entrepreneurs first. So thank you so much for this opportunity this morning, and I would encourage you all to please connect with us if you're interested in learning more about Collider and how you can serve small business here in Rochester. So thank you, Mayor.
So I will just say it's been an honor to be able to support Collider through a grant through the National League of Cities, as well as some funds from the mayor's office as we collaborated on trying to make sure that everyone in this community has access to the services they provide. You can't really have a healthy future as a city or even a thriving business sector without healthy, well-cared for children and well-educated youth. The passage of the Rochester Public School referendum was a gift from our residents to the future of this city. And I'm forever grateful for their commitment to our youth and our schools. Was really pleased to hear the comments from Kathy Nathan and the changes that are being made and the progress that's being made, the strategic plan for our schools. And I'm really hopeful for the future for Rochester. But we know there's more to do. We can't put it all on the shoulders of our teachers. I know it feels like that's a simple thing to do, but the broader community, broader society has a role too. Did you know that mental health is a major concern for our youth? I know some of you here know that. They've identified it as one of the most pressing issues among their peers. Our youth council talks about this. It was when they formed their committees, mental health was one of the first committees, that and I think energy and environment were their committees. Social anxiety has kept some children from returning to school and participating in activities. Did you know that children need a close relationship with just one caring adult that they can trust to help overcome childhood trauma? It is that important, that relationship that we have with our children. That close relationship can make a world of difference in a child's life. And it's no secret that Rochester and much of the country is facing a child care crisis. Parents need access to safe, affordable, and high-quality child care in order to enter and remain in our workforce. This issue affects our entire community, both socially and economically. The lack of affordable and quality care and the low pay for those who care for our most vulnerable children are at risk of even staying in the field. And inadequate facilities, and frankly, one of the things we've learned is the location of childcare really affects parents' willingness to use it. So, having childcare close to where you work makes a difference. Surprise. One of the National League of Cities program grants that we received helped support the work of Cradle to Career. And so I'm going to ask Julie Ruzick to just step up and say a few words about her program and how those funds might have helped before we finish up.
Good morning. I'm getting over a little cold. I don't normally sound like this. I apologize. I'm also really glad that one of our youngest Rochesterites is in the audience today. So wherever you are, you're making me feel very comfortable. It is an honor to stand here today and celebrate the intentional focus and work being done to improve educational outcomes for our children and youth, and to dream with you in the work yet to come. My name is Julie Ruzick. I have the profound honor of leading the Cradle to Career initiative in our community. Cradle to Career is a community-wide initiative that works to improve educational outcomes for all children and youth by transforming the way that partners work together. And we are transforming the way that partners work together. From collaborating to address our childcare crisis, to offering free professional development and an opportunity for partners to connect at our annual education summit, to supporting youth and families in completing FAFSA and scholarship applications, to creating an accessible early childhood resource hub on our website, we are seeing the power of what happens when we come together to support our kids. But as much as we have achieved, we know that there is still more work to do. Across Rochester, schools, community organizations, businesses, local leaders, and many other caring adults are working hard to ensure that every child has the opportunity to succeed. We are so grateful to the countless organizations and individuals that have joined our work groups, leadership table, parent council, and committees. Thank you specifically to the City of Rochester, Mayor Norton specifically, for including Cradle to Career and our partners in the National League of Cities Early Childhood Childcare Grant. Through this opportunity, we were able to research childcare needs in our community, utilize the community co-design model to center the voices of those highly impacted by the childcare crisis, and begin to craft and measure strategies and pilots to address childcare access in our community. None of this work happens in isolation. It takes all of us, educators, businesses, parents, nonprofits, and community members working hand in hand to create a thriving ecosystem of support. 2025 is a time for collaboration, for strengthening connections between our schools, families, communities, and local institutions. By ensuring that children have access to high-quality childcare, comprehensive mental health services, pathways to post-secondary opportunities, and more, we are laying the groundwork for success that will carry our community forward for generations to come. Now we need more of you to join us. If you're an educator, consider how you can partner with local organizations to bring new resources into your classroom. If you're a business owner, think about how you can offer mentorship or internship opportunities to help students gain real-world experience. If you're a community member, ask yourself, how can you support programs that help kids build confidence and resilience? Or how can you advocate for policies that prioritize education and well-being? Education is the most powerful tool we can give the next generation. It is the key to breaking cycles of poverty, unlocking potential, and building stronger, more vibrant communities. In this year about youth, I encourage you to prioritize children and youth in our community. If you're interested in learning more or brainstorming what this could look like, contact us. We'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
So you're hearing a theme. So this has been, it says, so how are the children? This has been on my bulletin board, I think, since the 90s. I keep it in front of me to remind me that our community starts with our children. So you're hearing a theme? Yes, you are. There's much more that needs to be done in supporting our children and youth in this community. And our entire community, as Julie pointed out, plays a vital role in addressing these issues. And it's imperative that we do this. And I remember one person I was talking to, and I said, I'm really going to be focusing on youth this next year. They said, what does a city have to do with youth? And I had to stop. Don't roll your eyes. Don't roll your eyes, right? Because all of us have a role to play. If we do not focus and make sure that our young people are ready, our future is at risk for the whole community. We have to have people who are ready to lead, people who are prepared, who are warm and feel loved. It's simple. Children living in conflict, crisis, or dealing with traumas such as abuse, hunger, or isolation are unable to grow into the productive, strong students and adults that we need for the future of Rochester. We must support their development of new, affordable, high-quality childcare options so that families can choose to work without spending every penny on childcare. We have to do that. Otherwise, they may have no choice but to forego work entirely. And I can tell you from working with the chamber and some of our partners here, they need employees. We need people who want to work to be able to work. Through my participation in the Hunt Institute Fellowship this past year, I connected with state-level professionals and elected officials who understand these challenges and will work together, I'm hopeful, toward legislative solutions that could address the low wages and high costs of childcare in particular. I'm hopeful that these efforts will make a significant difference for our families' lives, but we also need city and local businesses to recognize that we have a role in this too, as their younger employees, frankly, depend on childcare. Across the country, businesses and, yes, even cities are stepping in to offer childcare for their employees, especially for their first responders and, in our community, healthcare professionals and others who work non-traditional hours. This is something we don't often think about, but when you work evening shifts, when you're a police officer, and want to work fire, there's no childcare available in the evenings. And of all communities, this community should be addressing this issue. So hopefully we can be thinking about that this coming year. I guess what I want to say is that we have wonderful organizations in this community. We have a plethora of nonprofits, and a few of them you heard from this morning, but Cradle to Career, for Children First, FCCI, and some of the others support training programs and strive to improve childcare options. But more of us need to be thinking about that. The workforce needs to be thinking about that. As a community, we must support parents and families through initiatives like, frankly, and Homestead County is key to this, home visits that strengthen parent bonds with their children and help them understand how to be a parent, those parental practices that we need. We need to continue expanding our incredible early childhood family education programming, and many of us in the room, a lot of the elected officials, go out to talk to the ECFE and pair folks over at Community Ed, and it's a fabulous opportunity. Take it if it's offered, to learn more about what they do and hear from the families who benefit. It's remarkable. We also need more family-based activities like neighborhood art events. We know that art helps heal the soul. Poetry helps heal the soul. And our children deserve that kind of environment in our community. Child and family-centered programming in our organizations, parks, and services, an area that sometimes we fall short on. We have the parks, we have the environments, but we're not programming them so that people can use them. So think about that in this coming year. And it's not a new or radical idea. This past year, the city opened Soldiers Field Water Park. Anybody do that? Yeah, I see a few heads nodding. Yeah, that was good. And the Lincolnshire splash pads, which are well used. And our Public Works Department, this did not get on people's radar, but they held a snow summit, the Public Works Department. It was fabulous. So watch for that next year, the snow summit. You can shovel little white styrofoam that children did. They had a ball. Beads. It was fun. It was a great event. So brand new, watch for it. And as I mentioned earlier, the New Year's Eve party here at Mayo Civic Center. So we do have, the city does have a role, already plays a role, and will continue to play a role in making Rochester a place people want to live. The Rochester Police Department hosted a series of community-based events for the past number of years called Safe City Nights. I'm sure many of you have been there. And they do that in collaboration with Mayo Clinic's ambulance service, the fire department, Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, and lots of nonprofits. So I want to thank also Olmsted County for co-sponsoring a youth council with the city. And so we do have that continuing as well. That's been a great partnership. And both our families and our youth, as you will see, and the city council will hear soon, it's what's being asked for by the people who live in this community. We're going to create that child and family friendly community that's key to a high quality of life. So as you've heard, every good speech is supposed to have a call for action. Even bad speeches are supposed to have a call for action. And so I'm asking each and every organization and business to join me in making 2025 a year about youth. So Michonne has developed it. Yay. You're about youth, right? Come on, gotta have something so you can remember it. And so I'm asking all of you here to support our efforts and community efforts to do everything we can for our children. Whether it's at home, a place of worship, in your community group or work, whether it's simple or complex, it can be an activity, supporting a scholarship, hosting a club or neighborhood gathering, or frankly, even just spending time reading to a child. Could be your grandchild. Do it, have fun. So let's make this a year where we can all come together as a community, show our support for our youth, and make sure they know that they're our future and that we're there to support them every step of the way. So again, I don't know if Michonne has a slide for this one, but it always feels weird to ask people, but donate, join. I just took the opportunity to watch Join or Die, which is put together by Putnam, who wrote Bowling Alone. And our organizations have been, membership and joining clubs and organizations has been falling off for decades. It is what the foundation of the United States democracy is founded on. Last year, I put the quote up for that. So we have to continue to join. We have to continue to give in our community. And again, that can be wherever you want. Just join, because I don't want you to die. Hello. I'm also going to say, we do have a mayor's newsletter. One of the things we found as I'm wrapping up here, really difficult this past year, is how do you communicate with people, and all of us deal with this, every organization. How do you get the word out about what you're doing? So we're going to do a newsletter. You can sign up for it on the, and I know I got a million newsletters too. We'll keep them very short, and I won't fill your box with them. But find ways to communicate about the things that are happening. And particularly I'm asking is we all, please, do child-centered activities this year. Let me know what they are, and we will put them on a calendar. Let me know what they are, and we're going to spend a little bit of marketing dollars getting some information out there so we can help. I would just say, if you're not a member of Rochester Local, find out what that is, because it used to be called Rochester Mom. It has the best calendar of things to do in this community. Yes, they deserve a hand for what they're doing for us. And so we're going to help put the information that all of you are doing out on that website. So in closing, I just want to say, I'm entering 2025 with a lot of excitement. I'm happy. I'm thrilled to be working with, even though I can't hear them, the city council, really excited what's happening, and really the energy behind what 2025 is going to bring. I'm really looking forward to their strategic planning. Hopefully they've heard a few things here that they can put in that. But there's a lot of work that lies ahead, and it's going to be done by all of us, not just the council, right? They're going to make some policy decisions, but it takes all of you to make them work, and we have a fabulous community. So again, this is a question I'm asking: how are our children? Take a handout on the table. It's kind of odd. I was reading and I thought, oh, this sounds, they're under there. This sounds exactly like something I would write, and then I realized I had written it. So it was for our early childhood work that we did, and they asked me to summarize the work, and they gave me 3 questions, and I answered them. So grab one of those, and you can read it. Maybe it'll give you some ideas. But the Year About Youth is about our future. So thanks for joining me here today. Do you want to make any parting comments? Chair Schubring? Okay, we ran a little bit over, but not too bad. 10 minutes. I was trying to keep it to 8:30. I talked fast. Just really happy that you came. This is what it's all about. It's all about you. We have folks, we didn't invite we have the president of RCTC here. We have the the chancellor from University of Minnesota, Rochester here, our fabulous educational institutions. So hopefully you are heartened by the fact that we're going to support our youth, because you guys are the ones that have them at that career part, the cradle to career. They've got the career end of it. So thank you for being here. I had heard a lot of energy in the socialization. You can continue to do that for a few minutes. That's great. Have a wonderful 2025.